Is it recording?
This is Republic Notice. This is an expose of Beyonce and Jay Z. An expose of Beyonce and Jay Z. Okay, we all hear a lot about Beyonce in the news and Jay Z in the news, but have we really heard the true expose on them? Do we know the true expose on them without all the news media influencing us like drones about them? Let's take, for example, this Illuminati presence that Jay Z supposed to be involved with. You got people at radio stations and stuff keep asking them questions about the Illuminati and he and the Illuminati. You got, McGriff, Professor McGriff, and all I'm talking about, all the Illuminati in Hollywood and all the luminaires and everything, as if they can't achieve nothing without the Illuminati. Now, mind you, I don't know what goes on in Hollywood. I don't know if they made some kind of bargain or whatever, but I do know this. The people who are interviewing Jay Z and keep on accusing him of being part of the Illuminati and everything is part of the Illuminati themselves, because a lot of them are sitting up here and trampling the Holy Covenant, especially the ones who calling themselves being down with the black community that are not covenant heirs, who are radio hosts and call themselves being down with blacks, but they don't have any constitutionality. They don't have any constitutionality. Some of them are Hispanic. They don't have any constitutionality. So they are part of the Illuminati regime. If you don't have any constitutionality, you have did the service and you're serving the Illuminati. If you in here talking about you got 14th birthrights on covenant heirs rights like black Americans. And Jay-Z, who is the president of his rock nation, and Beyonce are covenant heirs with covenant rights. And they're the blameless non-consenters. They're the blameless non-consenters. So all those keep on asking them about this Illuminati should ask themselves, how much are they serving the Illuminati by keep on bringing them up and keep on acting like that they are the sole power on this earth and the sole power in the cosmic. No, they're not the sole power. And everything they stole from Egypt, ancient knowledge, calling themselves doing some kind of magic. They stole something called magic and thinking they're going to do all this. But there's one problem. They're not the true omnipresence of light. So the true omnipresence of light is going to have the final word anyway. But this having to do with Beyonce and Jay-Z expose is to say this. If black people in America was in unification and doing the Sabbath like they supposed to do, they wouldn't have to worry about other blacks serving the Illuminati. Because the only way the Illuminati got any power that they supposedly have is because the blacks failed the unity of the Sabbath, of coming together on the Sabbath day. So when you keep talking about as they serving this and then they serving that and this black serving this and this black serving that, just ask yourself, are you serving God in the holy Sabbath? See, that's what you need to be asking yourself. Not whether Jay-Z or Beyonce is serving the Illuminati, but whether or not you serving God and doing your holy Sabbath. Because if you ain't asking yourself that, then you leaving yourself open and you leaving Beyonce and Jay-Z open to be influenced by negative forces. It doesn't mean that they gave their soul to negative forces. It means that they're being left open for power of negative forces to take over them because blacks' failure to observe the Sabbath. Okay? So, stop all this obsession with the Illuminati and start obsessing with serving that Sabbath and doing the Sabbath and serving the Holy Covenant, God Almighty. Furthermore, as far as Beyonce and whether or not she gave birth or she didn't give birth or she didn't give birth or whatever, you know, I mean, it's just really silly that you have time for all this. And the only reason you have time is because you're allowing the black babies to die in the black community. The real babies are dying in the black community. Beyonce baby is taken care of. She's taken care of very well. Why don't you concentrate on how many babies is dying in the black community and how they was born under attritional circumstances with their young mothers devastated? Because the real exposure, Beyonce, is that they work very hard and they worked hard enough and they pay taxes that are being charged by them by a group of gangsters. When they're the Holy Covenant Supreme Contractual Heirs, they're the true IRS. That's right. People like Beyonce and Jay Z are the true IRS heirs. Heirs. He heirs. He heirs. H-E-I-R-S. Heirs. They the true IRS. And they being gauged like a lot of other black Americans that they wasn't able to attrition out of cash. They gauging them, and they the ones own the contract of the 16th Amendment. They the supreme contractors. That's the real expose. As much money as they make, the gangsters are taking money away from them as if Beyonce and Jay Z aren't supreme contractors. They are Hollywood Judah royalty. And even though they don't always please, and I'm not always pleased with the way they promote themselves, or how the fact that even though she's very, very talented, she feels as though she has to add so much body to it. So much of her body and so much of her sacred femininity has to be put on display just to get attention deficit, you know, because to me it's an insult to her talent as a singer. I mean, why does she have to have such a beautiful voice and have to put so much body on display? Yeah, something is wrong. The lack of observation of the Sabbath. Because if the observation of the Sabbath was going on, she'd know that her body was holy. And she wouldn't use it. She would use her voice like they did back in the day. The Marvelettes, the Supremes. Never, never, never did they degrade their body for anybody. Never did they feel as though they had to use their body. And her voice is just as good or better than some of them. But this comes from a lack of observation of the holy covenant day called the Sabbath as a group of black people. So they're not praying for the youth. And they're still around 30ish or under, so they still on the part of youth are just beginning into middle age. Well, Jay Z, I think he's 40-something. So rather than asking them whether or not they serve the Illuminati, you better ask how much you're strengthening them as a covenant couple so that they don't fall to negative forces. How much are you observing the Sabbath to make sure the Illuminati don't have no power? How much protection are you giving them as a people? Because just because somebody don't have money or have money don't mean they protected. You know, because we had numerous deaths upon deaths upon deaths upon deaths. From Sam Cooke to Jennifer Hudson family, to Frankie Lyman, to Billy Stewart, you know, all these fluky deaths. You know, deaths with no explanation, real. Left Eye, Lamia, the one who sing Bring Me Men, Lamia. A lot of this blood is adding up. A lot of this blood is adding up. So I'm telling blacks and all them who want to find something on Beyonce and Jay Z, especially blacks, you better observe the Sabbath. You better stop having the Illuminati as a God and authority in your mind and start serving and start observing the Sabbath and having God holy covenant, your heirship in his mind, and serving couples that step out like that to influence, so to have our light and influence around the world. Because we need couples like that to have our light and influence around the world. We do need us to influence the world. And so they need to be protected by observation of the Sabbath, not us keep talking about what they did, whether they had a baby or what they did that. You know, they're a holy covenant couple. They're supreme in God Almighty contract as the blameless. They are non-consenters. They fulfilled the contract by having a child of non-consent, all persons born. They are Judah marching on. So therefore, they own whatever they got by supreme contract. And so watch the news media and don't be a news media beast drone. And if the Illuminati got power, ask yourself, how can you get rid of it rather than questioning people who's just trying to make a living and fulfill their life purpose? This is Mary Omni from the House of King David. Shalom.